Oh my goodness, we're back.
Hey everybody, welcome to Wednesday night OWCP Chats with Chris and Gini.
She is your fantastic host, Gini, and I'm the other guy, Chris.
The other guy.
We are so happy to be back. It feels like we've been gone for a month, have we?
No, last week and I let you guys know I posted a picture with me, Joe, and Chris, and I asked you guys to go ahead and list your cities there. So I told Joe today to go and look at that list, and cities and states where we can come to. So we go and you guys see our pictures with all our BDC family friends.
That's Black Diamond Club. It's the most high-powered consulting group in the history of the universe.
Right. So we go there. We get taught things that we could do to
help you,
help our franchisees, and just awesome things. So that's why we didn't get on last Wednesday, because we were in a class.
Keep talking.
And so tonight, what we're going to do, we're having a special guest. I know you guys see me shaking. I'm shaking.
Special.
Did I say that?
She said a special guest.
Yeah, so we have a special guest tonight.
3 specials?
Yes. No.
Pretty special.
Mr. Hodges, like special times 10x.
So
like that.
Kenny Hodge. Kenny Hodge he's a longtime friend. We can see him off camera here, and you can't see him yet, but he's a longtime friend. He's from Ohio. He is a former mail handler president.
Yep.
A former mail handler. A former supervisor, which is always my favorite part.
But he wasn't like your typical supervisors.
No. And a former drill sergeant that you don't want to mess with. And we're gonna skip all of the housekeeping, and we're gonna get straight to the man.
We're gonna do housekeeping at the end. So after Mr. Hodge is done, stay on and we'll tell you what's coming up and all of that. And you guys will see a lot of our offices on there saying hello and where they're at. So if you need an office, they're on there. Reach out to them. They'll be able to help.
Enough talk. I need Kenny. I need more Kenny and less everything else.
Let's
Kenny
bring
Hodge,
the man
ladies
on.
and gentlemen. What is up, my man?
Oh, I hope I can live up to the hype, man.
Look, all you got to do to live up is show up.
Yeah.
Everywhere I go, Chris, I like to bring you with me and do that intro, man. That was beautiful. You give me something to strive for.
You know what? I knew like for sure that you and I were close friends when I went to Columbus to watch that Ohio State football game and invited you, and you showed up without even you're like, yes, no hesitation. You were in.
Because we've communicated so much online. I'm like, and excuse me, audience, but your knowledge is always so on point. I had to meet you, man.
Me and you was cool. You remember we actually did a podcast in your studio while I was there.
Yeah, we did. Yes, we did. Yeah,
man, your studio dwarfs mine, dude. That's a really good one.
We even got to go see the Postal Jamming guys live, man. Practice, man.
Oh man, I told her about that.
Yeah, he did.
Next time it's Columbus, right? Columbus,
yes.
Yeah. Next time we're in Columbus, so we like to get together and do that again.
Yes.
Always. In fact, my wife was just saying, we should all get together and meet somewhere because we both travel, and if we could meet in some state, man, that'd be a wonderful time. I'll tell you now, just take an Uber wherever we're going to meet. All right.
Right.
Take an Uber. I don't want to see you next week. Like there's no show today.
No mugshots.
Hanging out with Kenny, man.
No mugshots. Got you.
All right.
Oh man, we're so happy to have you tonight. We've talked before. I mean, you and I have been on between mine and yours multiple podcast episodes together.
Right.
And it's always so good to have you because you're so real and you've had experience every step of the way. Like every place you can have experience in the post office, you've got it.
Yes.
I think we're going to have a really deep conversation today. And I'm going to lead the conversation by saying this. The other day, and I don't know how long ago, but let's just call it the other day. somebody messaged Gini on Facebook and said, I want to sue the post office. Do you know a lawyer? And she said, well, you can't sue your agency. And the guy said something to the effect of, and I'm going to put words in his mouth, and I'm not going to use his name, something like, young lady, who do you think you are? Right. And, the truth is you can't sue the post office. But that's just kind of a lead into what we're going to talk about tonight, because you had an interesting topic you wanted to discuss. Go ahead and lead out with
it. For years, I've been following, we've been friends. I've been following what you do. And you and Gini put a hell of a lot of work into making sure federal employees are knowledgeable when something as important as their injuries in the federal workplace, post office, let's say. And I hear this over and over again, but as I look at your OWCP chats online, I see a lot of the same repeat issues coming up over and over again.
Yes.
So, being retired, I hope that I can speak to postal employees from a level of sincerity. I've got no dog in the fight. I don't need you to vote. I don't need you to assist me with anything. I just need you to hear what I'm saying. Yeah. And if all this information is available to you, but you won't use it, then at what point do you think that people are going to stop giving you information?
Correct.
Or on another point, Chris, if you're giving them the information, because nothing's all negative, and they're grasping it, they're using the information, they're going back to their office saying, hey, I got 30 days to file. Excuse me, I got 2 years, 3 years, I'm rusty, to file a CA1. I've got this knowledge, and I know it's real, and the supervisor still refuses to assist that employee. Yep. Where are we now? What does that employee do now?
That's such a smart question. And a few years ago, I'd say, you know what, you got to get your union involved. And I still say that, by the way. But the system changed a couple of years ago with eComp. And I think it helped everyone. In my opinion, it took the pressure off of people, because to file a claim, to do anything, you had to essentially have the supervisor's consent, because the supervisor, no offense to supervisors or ex-supervisors on the screen now, because I'm not talking about you, but the supervisor believed they had more power than they have, when truthfully, their entire job is, as I say, it's like a Chrisism, to fill out the forms and get the hell out of the way. And the forms aren't optional. If I come to you and I say, hey, boss, I'm hurt, I need to fill out a CA1, the job is to fill it out, not to say with the medical license the supervisor doesn't have, you're not hurt. Right. The job is fill out the form and let the claims examiner deal with it. Well, now with eComp, you just go on eComp and fill it out. The supervisor gets an email, and if they don't submit within 10 days, they violated law. So to me, it's so much simpler now. Now, it doesn't mean supervisors don't check their email. Like, they're not checking their email. They're going to say, I didn't get it, whatever. So you're going to have to deal with that. But at least you don't have to get, some sort of consent that's not necessary to file a claim anymore.
Yeah, because for years, operating as a union individual, it was just always mind-boggling to me how someone could get hurt at work and through pressure, peer pressure, or whatever, not want to file a claim to take care of themselves. I never understood that.
Well, it's not just peer pressure, although it's that for sure, because this, you've seen it. There are those people in any agency, in any company, that frown upon work injuries. Like, they look on it like you're weak, you're gaming the system, you're lazy, you just want to be out of work, you want to go on vacation. And so there's a stigma to filing work injury claims. And that stigma, by the way, is flamed by supervisors who are jerks and who sort of feed that, that animal that says, don't do this. But really, look, we've helped. Look, this is like a shameless plug. Since the franchise started, we've helped, I think, like 4,800 people get claims approved. That's 4,800 people with legitimate injuries, like legit, where the third-party claims examiner said, yeah, you're hurt, let's get you help. But you got a supervisor, you got coworkers saying, no, nothing's wrong with you. Me and my medical license, we disagree.
But at what point in the education to the employee, what point does it take hold that your supervisor, again, I'm not even going to bash him, he don't know, she don't know. they're not doing.
Right.
So once you, I mean, and I know people who've gotten fired behind injuries and on probation, and when I bring it to them and tell them that's not the way that's supposed to go. I mean, if you got hurt, I don't care if you're in probation, in the performance of your job, they can't just fire you today.
Right.
They can't fire you today. Now, just understand that they're going to be watching you maybe in a month or two. If you don't fly right, they might, but they can't fire you over that injury. But for whatever reason, postal employees, you hear the knowledge, you give them references so that they can validate the knowledge, and they'll go to work and hear something totally different from what they've just been educated on, and hold on to it like it was the gospel.
Well, that's just like today. I was telling Chris, the guy that says, that I'm not taking your advice. Well, okay, why did you even message me to begin with? Saying he doesn't know who to believe. He's hearing things from us. He's hearing things from a claims examiner. He's hearing things from an office. He's hearing things from his management. So and it's hard for other employees to say, is Chris and Gini knowing what they're saying? Because my supervisor has been telling me and telling everybody else for the last 10 years, this is not right.
Well, 4,800 approved claims in the last few years. That's pretty good. That's pretty good proof. But, and that happens, Kenny, it happens. We get people that say, well, what you're saying, it's opposite, or it's not what my supervisor said. So I'm going to go with my supervisor.
Right.
And it's not because people hate themselves. And it's not because people think their supervisors are like the greatest, but there's fear. And if I go against the boss, there could be, retaliation. I could get fired. And so the first thing that comes to mind is OSHA. I talk about it all the time. And by the way, for all of you out there, write this down: 1-800-321-OSHA. Actually, don't write it down. I always say this, like, that's a number that you can't forget. I know that number better than my wife's phone number, 1-800-321-OSHA. But OSHA's got a website, obviously, OSHA. But they've got a page that says these are your employee rights. And the 6th employee right is the right to report a work injury. And then on a next page, it says it is I don't have a word for word, but it's a violation of law to prevent someone from exercising their rights. And so I say to people when I'm teaching, and by the way, another shameless plug, we got a class coming up in San Francisco and Miami. We'll talk about that later. But when I tell people, I say, okay, so OSHA says it's your right to report an injury. They say it's a crime to prevent you from exercising your rights. What do you think that's about? I mean, that's it, man. That's the gospel. You get to do this.
And when Gini was mentioning, they get confused as to who's right or who's wrong. One of the things that I admired about when I first met you, there wasn't a whole lot you told me that there wasn't whatever that code was, a USC. You gave me the reference, man. I'm sitting here like, okay, I guess I got to write this down. And I checked one or two, and I'm like, God, I'll be damned. That's pretty much what it says. But when employees, I don't know why they don't understand that this is federal law.
Right.
It's not an option. And if you got hurt at work, there's no shame there. I mean,
it happens.
That's why we call it an accident.
Right.
But
who wants to be hurt? Nobody wants to be hurt.
But people will get hurt and will suffer with no income for periods of time rather than report an injury because they know down the road, if I want to transfer or have any kind of mobility within the Postal Service, that accident is going to show up. So that's part of something the Post Office might want to look at and stop holding that against employees. But then if they did, they would be subliminally let employees know that as an employer, I want you to exercise your rights.
Right.
And I get the feeling that's not, they really don't want that widespread.
No, they don't. And the U.S. Code and the Code of Federal Regulations both say that it is a crime to induce, compel, or whatever, basically prevent someone from reporting a work injury. That's a crime punishable by fines up to $10,000, or maybe 5, I forget, and imprisonment.
Yes.
Now,
But you know why no supervisor ever has been imprisoned?
Because no one's got the courage to stand up and say, "Listen,
they're not pushing.
I injured myself here. I apologize that it's going to mess up your operation or whatever. But right now, let's prioritize what's happening."
You're right.
And I need, and top of that list is I need medical aid right now. And for some reason, people just refuse not to do that.
And Kevin had my back. You're right. Impede. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah, you can't stop somebody from reporting their injuries. It's a crime. And you know, when you're hurt, if you don't report, you go back to work tomorrow. What happens to you? Potentially, you get hurt worse. Now you're hurt worse. You can't work. You're not getting paid. You can't pay your bills. You still can't go back to work. What happens next? You're homeless.
I mean, yes, it's a sequence of events that if you don't address, is bound to happen.
That's right. You know, so in every one of my books, shameless plug, breakingowcp.com, in every one of my books, I've got a chapter for supervisors. And the theme that I've settled on for management, and by the way, having a management background myself, you're not the only one on this broadcast tonight that has a management background. And so I get it from the management perspective. But I'm always saying, look, supervisors, do you realize that you're probably causing more work injuries that would otherwise be ignored? Like a lot of people would just suck it up. You know, the rub some dirt on it crowd.
Right.
They just suck it up. Now they're pissed off at you because you're such a jerk. So you're like, all right, I'm going to stick it to you and I'm going to file more work injuries. And then when they file the work injury, which they should have filed, not just sticking it to you, get help. But then what happens is you give them a hard time. So they can't get back to work soon. Whereas if you would just fill out the forms, give them a CA-16, fill out the CA-17, do the limited duty assignment like the law says, you'll get people back to work a lot faster.
Yes,
and
you will.
Way less disruptive to workflow to just help someone from day one. But too many supervisors are assholes, and they do the opposite.
And if you read postal manuals, postal regulations from headquarters, the design is to get that person back to work. I mean, so the fabric, the design that management works within is designed to get that person back to 100%. And for whatever reason, they don't seem to get that message.
Yeah, don't. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, if anybody just sat and thought about it, they'd realize, wait, I'm actually hurting myself as a supervisor. I'm hurting my ability to get this job done because I'm not letting people come to work. Right. I'm not letting them get better so they can get back fast. I see people on the rolls for years. I'm like, what happened? How are you not back? And I have another criticism. The easiest way to get paid is to go to work and clock in. And we're not the company doctor at all. You know, Sun Tzu was among the art of war. He was among many since that said there's essentially nothing more powerful than a common enemy. Well, management makes it easy for them to be my enemy. They make it easy, right? And but if they would just do the right job and help people from day one, we'd get them back. We're not the company doctor. But I still tell people, I understand you're struggling with money. You're struggling. You're worried about paying your bills, your kids in college, you know, your spouse is unhappy because you're not working. I get it. The surest way to get paid is to clock in. And management makes it hard for people to get back and clock in.
And again, it's they have to go out of their way to do that.
Right.
They have to go out of their way to do that because if they were true to the craft, learning that as part of the supervisory task, and you would understand that the post office says it's better to have you, if you can perform 50% of your job, let me get that 50 and OWCP will handle the other 50. But for some reason, that just never translates from management properly. And you know, it's something I'm going to say now that most people might have a hard time grasping. If you can get these issues, if you can get these issues to postal headquarters, I'm not talking above your district, you'll find a much different response.
That's right.
Now, let me caution you. When you go above your district manager, I'm just saying, I'm going to leave that right there. But if you can get...
They're not going to like it.
Yeah. If you go above him, he might not have a good day next time he see you. Something to that effect. But postal headquarters, I mean, you'll see a much different reaction.
So you said that the manager you go over is not going to like it. So in this book, and I'm going to send you a copy, the 25 things you can do to win an OWCP. Guess what number 25 is?
What is it, man?
Forget your supervisor's feelings.
Well, you know what? Let me add to that, because earlier when we talked about, my supervisor said, I just brought back to mind earlier when we were talking about Tom. Tom and I used to do that sick call chat.
Yeah.
And we did an episode called "My Supervisor Said." I mean, probably one of my best downloads that I've had to date. So in that episode, my supervisor said, "Well, you know what? Ask your supervisor. I'm confused, Mr. and Mrs. Manager. Can you please show me that? See, I have this thing that I got to read it. Can you show me where I can't file this claim? Can you show me where I'm not entitled to COP?" Yep. And again, if you ask these questions from a calm perspective, and I know if you're out of work, missing pay, calm is the last thing on your mind.
Oh, that's hard.
But if you ask these questions in that manner, hopefully you're going to trigger something for that supervisor to go and check and say, wait a minute, maybe I am wrong. Maybe they are entitled. But, we've been fighting this fight with people not reporting injuries and injuries dragging for years, man. And at some point, I don't know. I don't see it stopping. I see I see this continuing on, but with the only difference is more people are willing to step up and get some kind of restitution for being injured at work until they can recover.
Man, everything you just said is spot on. And shameless plug coming. Watch this. So Kenny and I did not. He has no idea. I'm gonna ask him this question right now. And it's okay if it backfires on me. But Kenny, where is your cell phone right now?
Where is my cell phone?
Yeah, where's your cell phone?
I don't know.
Yeah, that backfired. Mine's right here. And you'll see why that backfired in a second. So most people have their phone on them at all times. You're at home, so you don't need yours. Oftentimes I keep it on the charger too. I'm here. But when you leave your house, you grab your keys, your wallet, and
your phone
every single time.
Yes.
So one of the things I'm doing now with these books is I don't sell paperback copies of the book anymore. I take them with me when we do live training events because I like to encourage people to come. So I take them for the people that attend in the audience. But what I want is for people to download it to their phones. Because you just said it. Supervisors, they don't know the rules. They're just going to tell you something. And if you don't have the rules like right there, how can you dispute that?
Exactly. Yes.
So I've got a thing that I say, put Breaking OWCP in your pocket. Now, this will not fit in my pocket. It's not a big book, but it won't fit. But this fits in my pocket.
Now, let me just
you have the rules. And when the supervisor says, nah, you only had 30 days to report your injury, and you pull out volume 1, you're like, no. See, the CFR right here says I have 3 years.
Right.
What's up? So that's what's missing.
Once you show them what the CFR says, you gotta take a breath, gotta breathe with it. Let that supervisor digest that, and then now the supervisor's next move will let you know, okay, maybe they didn't know, but they're gonna find out, and I'm gonna be okay. Yeah. But if you get resistance back from that, just understand you need to find a different source, because that individual is not going to help you.
No, and thank God for unions when it comes to that, because when you have the law, then I think you have the basis for a grievance.
Yes.
If the law is not it, I don't know what is. And in my books, you get to read the laws right there. Like, yes, I'm entitled to a CA-16. I reported today. So hand it over, man. Here's the law.
And that kind of surprises me, though, that right now more of mail handler unions aren't getting training done, or am I still good? Yeah, getting more training done so that they equip that supervisor. They equip that steward with this knowledge so that the steward will be in a better position to guide. Now, I know a lot of stewards say they don't like to touch injury because they don't want to give the impression that they gave advice. But, and I'm sorry, I glanced over at a comment that said when the union is not working with management. Listen to me, sir. They're always working with management, and I don't mean that real negatively. But you got to understand, it's important that you understand, because if you understand, now you can hold your union accountable and force them to take that fight to management. But, again, as I'm retired, I can speak very calmly about it. But trust and believe, I understand. I understand that fighting this fight is a hard fight. I understand. I'm asking you to stay calm as possible most of the time, when that's not a real sensible thing to do if you're out of work, not receiving continuation of pay because somebody didn't take the time to follow the forms properly. But you have to stay tenacious and you have to stay involved. And sometimes, and I'm not asking you to make unnecessary phone calls, but I'll call you every day. I'm going to call you enough that you're going to make sure my claims get processed. If for nothing else, then does not have to talk to me every day. And when I see a comment that came up that talked about when you're recruited as stewards, OWCP is not something they really cover. OWCP is not a direct issue with your contract. Not filing brings it into a grievance procedure, but the fact that you got hurt at work, contract doesn't really address that. We've got different laws for that. So, as a union steward, I would think that unions would become very interested in ensuring that you have this knowledge to better assist those dues paying members. I would think that a union would want that, especially more so in the mail handler craft, because in the APW, if I'm not mistaken, they have a designated person that takes care of, assists you with injury compensations, if I'm not mistaken. Now, I know in the mail handler craft, that's
Kenny,
not
you got us back?
always.
Oh my God, I don't know what happened. I'm sitting here sweating bullets. Why did I lose connection?
There was too much power coming from there. That's what happened.
Oh, goodness.
All right. But let me finish that thought there. But again, unions don't, they should be, the mail handlers should be more interested in having Chris and Gini speak to their stewards again, because like I said, APW have designated people to do that. The mail handlers don't. So if you supply that steward with good basic injury compensation knowledge and have them understand you're here to guide, I think it would be more than beneficial. I'm still kind of perplexed why the mail handlers wouldn't take advantage of that.
Well, a lot of them do, Kenny. In fact, I commend mail handlers. A lot of the mail handlers we talk to are super on board with this. Not just you, like you.
No, I meant as far as the unions go, so that you teach this to everybody.
Now,
that's what I meant. Yeah.
Here's the beautiful thing is that none of the mail handler unions have ever rejected us. They just don't invite us. And I think a lot of that is because they don't understand or even know about us yet. And so, but like in Alabama, they invite us. It's awesome out there,
Great,
and it's
great.
really nice. And same thing here in Florida. We get invitations. So I think it's just a factor of just not knowing who we are yet. But I commend the mail handlers union, because I got to be very careful. Sometimes I go off and I hurt feelings. Some unions, not all nationally, but some locals are anti OWCP, I think, or anti me for whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe I like the wrong football teams, but I don't know. I don't think so. I'm pretty sure I got the right ones down.
You're a Giant fan. Who would hate you for
Oh,
that?
good Lord.
I'm just saying. You asked for that, man. You asked
I walked right into it.
So,
Yeah, you
Kenny,
asked
let
for
me
that.
ask you something. We're talking
Okay.
about supervisors not knowing what they do or they play dumb or whatever. What made you different being a supervisor? Why did you take the position? And then why did you leave the position?
Well, when I got the position, I was given the position because I was recently I just got out of the Marine Corps, and there was an office that really had some issue problems, and still being very military structured, became a 204B, and I got the job. Now I got to tell you, and here's the story to my career. I understood that this first job that I came into really had nothing to do with postal skills, but the next one is not going to be that easy, and I began to just devour knowledge because I'm in a position that a lot of people thought I shouldn't be in. So the one thing I had to make sure of is that my knowledge was a little better than everybody else's. So we stop all that. Ken don't deserve that job he has. And when I started from that, I kept going from there. And the reason was, and the reason I left, I'm probably gonna need a couple of drinks.
It's like that, huh?
Yeah, it was one of those things like, you know how when you're playing football, the tryouts, you go to your locker and they got that red tape hanging.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was so we'll just leave that right there. Because wait a minute, hold on one second. Let me bring it down. Woosah. Woosah.
Bring
Okay.
it down.
Bring it down.
It's gonna be
No,
okay.
yeah, but it was really important to me to more than not, because nobody's perfect. Follow the rules. I understood early in my postal career that the rules are going to piss people off, but they're the rules. You
Yeah.
can go anywhere, any place, and say, "Well, Mr. Hines told me I have to case 18 letters a minute." Okay, that's the rule. And I was always, again, more times than not, because nobody's perfect. I was always willing to stand behind that. And once I got you to calm down, and I showed you in writing in a postal manual what just happened, yeah, you're still mad at me, but at least I'm not that a-hole, well, the complete a-hole you thought I was.
Well, you're not trying to be a jerk. There's rules and you
Yeah.
got to follow them too.
But, it drifting outside of OWCP, and here's some more of that talk that somebody will probably say, I don't know what I'm talking about. Postal employees, as a nation, as an organization, have become so useful to, no disrespect, people, because I'm one of you, not doing what the supervisor says and doing their own thing. And let me say this, doing the employee doing their own thing is what keeps the post office successful. So mass shout out to the employees. But you become so used to not listening that you don't listen to a whole lot of things that could help you.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and
Anybody?
it's sad.
Yeah.
I used to, because in the post office, if you know you got hurt, you know you should follow CA1. Well, you thinking I'll hold off, or I won't hold off, or I don't want to fall right now because I'm intimidated.
Right.
For whatever reason, I don't use intimidated as a real masculine sense. Now later on, a year later, that finger or that leg is still bothering you, and now somebody gives you information that it's not too late. It's not too late to file your claim. Now the whole thing comes in is employees think that someone's playing a game with them.
Yeah.
I mean, trust me, I used to have more people look at me crazy when I talk CAs to them that, I'm looking, man, I hear, just read this and then come and talk to me.
Yeah.
Say
You know
no.
what?
Yeah.
That's so common, Kenny.
Yeah.
It's not too late. That's another criticism. It's not too late because most people don't realize they have 3 years to file a claim. Or if they do realize it, they're like, why is it 3 years? That doesn't make any sense. I was hurt 3 years ago. Why today? Well, in my opinion, I think it was made that way because A, there's not enough doctors. And so you're going to fight like hell to find somebody that knows what they're doing before federal injury centers. And B, if you could never find one, but maybe one day you have a fighting chance to get it approved, You get reimbursed for mileage and money spent and time off. And so they're able to make you whole, not to mention if your claim's approved, you're eligible for a schedule award. With that said, please don't ask me about schedule awards tonight. We'll do a whole show on it. A whole show. There's no way I can give it justice in the time remaining. But like when you finally get your claim approved 3 years later, you have access to all the same benefits you had on day one minus COP and a CA-16.
And let me interject real quick. That's the part where the supervisors kind of bedazzle employees.
Yep.
If you wait about a year, they're only reading the part of you're not eligible for COP. So they sometimes get confused and read that as you're not eligible to file your claim.
Well, that's right, because as long as you file your claim within 30 days, you're eligible for COP.
Yeah, right.
Well, it's been a year. It's 30 days past.
Yeah.
You can't file your claim. Well, that's not the rule.
Yes.
Right? The rule is that you have 3 years, 30 days COP. But hey, that ship sailed. It's been a year. All right. COP's over. But you can still get your claim approved, get help, and get reimbursed for stuff.
See, that part they leave out.
Right.
Accentuate the part of COP is over. So if I'm talking to my supervisor about a claim and you're telling me something's over, all I'm hearing is it's too late to file a claim.
It's not too late. That's
and you have to notice in a subject like OWCP, if you think about it, those who take a deep interest are those who've already been injured. So how could you not put up all your fight, everything that's in you to make sure you get compensated for doing the job?
I know. Okay, I got 2 questions for you that I can't ask anybody else because you're the only ex-supervisor, and sure as hell no current supervisors are coming on. Maybe one would, or 2, but most of them won't. And even if they did, they won't, by the nature of the fact that they're in the job now, they won't be able to tell me the truth. You can. So here's the question.
I will.
What's in it for supervisors to keep people down in OWCP? What's in it for them to have fewer OWCP claims?
Right.
I don't know the answer. And if you don't, that's fine, but I'm curious.
Now, let me say it's been a minute, over 20 years since I've been in management, but I'd like to think I was so far ahead of the game that I'm still a little bit ahead. I had to do that, man. But no,
you got to get the dust off your notepad from the desk behind you, and let's see.
When I supervised, there was no incentive other than it had a direct result on employees coming to work. You know, if you're out of work, when they look at employees absent, when they roll that number up, that shows in that number. Now, I don't know if their ratings now involve that. So I would have to say when I was in management, that played no significant consequence on the bonus or end result, with the exception of you're going to be missing an employee from work.
So that is the part that always made sense to me. The manager in me knows if somebody's out of work, it's my job to fill that shift with the current roster of people that I have that are all, by the way, doing their own job today. So I understand the hardship that puts on people. I mean, okay, I can honestly say I've never had somebody go out on a work injury as a supervisor, but I come from medical. Like, we don't really do heavy, hard stuff. And by the way, I'm not talking about VA nurses because your job's hard. Right. But working in family practice, it ain't hard, okay, for anybody. But there's a rumor. I didn't start it. I didn't fan the flames on it either. I'm just saying it's a rumor that's out there that management, in some cases or in all cases, are incentivized to prevent work injuries. And I hear it all the time, and I can't reply to it or respond to it in any way because what the hell do I know? But that's what I get asked all the time.
Well, now once you incentivized
to prevent work injuries.
Now, if you're a good supervisor, you're going to train people to work safe from the beginning.
Of course.
See, there you have. That's where your problem starts in the post office. But we won't even talk about that. But you're going to train them for that. And management, like I said, I don't know of any incentive, but I do know when people here's the tumbling blocks, Chris.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm a good supervisor. Somebody got hurt. They're out of work. Now I got to cover that shift. So now I don't know how long he's out, but I go to what we call a rotating overtime desire list.
Okay.
People are making money. Now I get the email from headquarters, your overtime's too high. Now, where am I? I got an employee out, upper management is
Hey, what are you gonna do?
cracking me across the head. So now the next person that gets hurt after what I just experienced, I am inclined to try to tell him, listen, you don't need both of your legs to carry her out. Just come on in.
Oh my gosh.
Now he would say such a thing. Not this guy.
Mean, it gets that crazy, man. I mean, and really, there's been some serious injuries that people need to be out, and you hear that supervisor, look, can you just come in and case her out? Can you come in and do something? And that's real. It's unfortunate. Yeah. Now, again, if an employee got hurt, you're out of work for, say, you're going to be out 6 months. We used to hire people just for that person's absence.
That's smart.
I mean, but I don't know where that philosophy has dwindled away. Now it's a case of if they're out, supervisor, you make up the difference. You tell your man, listen, I got a shop that requires 20 people, including off days and injured people. I got 11. You might hear, make it enough. Make it enough.
Right.
Now you have to go out here and get to scrambling and doing all kind of things that you know is going to cause friction with you and your employees. So, but you got a choice. You want friction with your employees or you want friction with your boss?
Well, the employees don't want friction with their boss. So it's not hard to understand why a supervisor doesn't want friction with their boss. Nobody wants that.
Exactly.
That leads me to my second question and this was asked. So remember, I'm asking a question that was already asked. You won't have to repeat it later.
Okay.
But somebody asked a question or even made a statement, but I'll turn to a question. Why won't management then, and I'm linking it to that overtime problem you're talking about, right? Well, now we got a lot of overtime. So somebody's coming down from the top going, too much overtime. Why wouldn't supervisors connect the dot and go, limited duty assignments can prevent overtime? Because the question or the statement was, but they won't give us limited duty assignments. Now, I know all the rules, and I've had a couple of chats about limited duty assignments. And when the claim's approved and the doctor fills out a CA-17 and submits it, the supervisor is responsible for making every possible effort to find limited duty based on the 17. Yes. It may not always be available, but they're required to try, right? Yes. And then when they're able to find it, they say, here's your limited duty assignment on a form, whatever, 2499 or something. And then they send that to the claims examiner who notifies the injured worker that there appears to be a limited duty assignment. Now go show this to your doctor. Your doctor will have 30 days to evaluate and then let us know what you think. So what happens is management says, we got nothing for you. Or they put the limited duty offer in front of them and say, sign this now. And I know a friend of mine who's also a union president who says, well, we say sign under duress, right? Yeah. But the law doesn't say anything about sign under duress. The law says you have 30 days. They can't make you sign it right now. So there's two problems there. But problem one is they'll say there's nothing available. Problem two is they'll say sign this now, which is totally against the law. And so if overtime is a big problem, which makes sense, the supervisor and me goes, yeah, I get it. Oh, under protest too. That's a good one. Thank you, Serena. Under protest is what the I talked to said. But anyways, if you're concerned about overtime and you know that you can offer limited duty and get some hours that aren't overtime hours, what are we talking about? That's super enlightening to me, Kenny. What you just said, the overtime thing.
Yes.
That's the reason management should offer limited duty assignments.
But watch this. Now here comes self into that equation. That was real simple. Now we're going to add some X, Y's, and Z's in there. I'm a supervisor. A lot of times their feelings are hurt because you got hurt in this section on their tour. So I can't tell you I'm upset with you. What I can do is make sure you don't get no limited duty, because now you get to come and be around an area working, and people get to look at me like okay, that's one of your people sitting there taking it easy. And it's not taking it easy. It's just
Following
performing
doctor's
work.
orders.
Yeah, but again, if people would stop and just, I mean, you read books all your life and just take a second, and read and understand the elm on what employees are supposed to do, followed by breaking OWCP. And then again,
Man.
you're gonna have to cross reference both of them, and see that you have a right to a lot of the things that you're being denied. And once you understand it's a right, not a privilege, for that supervisor to process your claim, you'll stand up a little straighter.
Now, if supervisors, and I don't think you meant this literally, but I'm going to take it as such for my own fun. If supervisors are their feelings are hurt because you got hurt on their tour, they're in the wrong place. Because let me tell you something, and we're talking specifically about the post office. Although, for everyone here that works in any other federal agency, these rules apply to you exactly the same as they apply to USPS. The laws in OWCP are uniform across every agency, so it's important for you to understand. But specific to USPS, that's a hard job.
Yeah.
We know a guy who used to be a cornerback for the Pittsburgh Steelers back in the 70s and 80s, okay? And we met him, and he said, and he was specifically, he's got a lot of friends in the Postal Service. And he said, I'd never do that job.
Yeah, he did.
That guy's a world-class athlete, right? So that job's hard. It's
right.
Hard. Anybody's feelings that are hurt, man, your feelings are way softer than the job is hard. Suck it up, Buttercup. Somebody got hurt. Fix it.
But what's this cycle keeps expanding, because now you go and you look at recently, you have a lot of supervisors who, and I'm not knocking the 204B program, or I'm definitely not knocking your advancement, who get promoted within a year or two. So when I'm talking about my feelings being hurt, I kind of understand that I really shouldn't be here right now in this position. I got it very early. So the last thing I want to do, again, is have an employee missing. Now my MDO is looking at me like, what's going on? And keeping that MDO happy is paramount to that supervisor. But if the MDO exercised a little more judgment, then everything would go a lot smoother. But again, them employees missing from work touches the overtime, and it touches employees hurt. If your building has a lot of accidents there, you don't get cookies and milk from the district manager. You're not going to get that.
I think what we need is more Marines and drill sergeants as supervisors, because then you won't give a damn about cookies and milk.
Well, you know what? But this, we're going to go way off OWCP for a minute.
Let's go.
We're still talking post office.
Let's go.
It's hard to go Marine there because there is no standard there. You can't tell me. You can look at me and try to motivate me with some discretionary effort. But as you know, for Marines came in or drill sergeants came in, you could say, listen, I need 20 of these every hour. That don't exist in the post office. People don't understand that, but that does not
standard.
Exist.
Got that.
There is no standard. The standard is you do the best that you can do. Now, doing the best that you can do, if that doesn't live up to the expectation of that supervisor, then again, when you unfortunately have an accident, he or she looks at it as, now let me give you what you've been giving me. And again, it's just a vicious cycle. And a lot of it probably could be resolved if there was a standard. And I'm not advocating standards. Again, I am retired. I don't advocate anything on behalf of the post office. But with no standard, it's hard to hold people accountable for anything other than being at your workstation and doing the best you can do.
Yeah.
Kenny, let me tell you something. You are, and I'm not just saying this because you're here in front of me, okay? Because what I'm about to say, the people that have been on here since the last time you were on our show,
yes,
I don't want them to feel bad. So all of you just like buckle down. Kenny, this is the best interview episode that we've ever had. It's the most enlightening because you're so well-rounded. Like you've been everywhere. You've literally been every place. And we are going to have to wrap this up because we got 10 minutes to go, and I like to answer questions at the end. So we're
okay, sure, man. That's great.
We're going to stay late. All right, I'm going to answer every question here, so don't worry about that. You all get your questions answered. But I want you to do this, Kenny, and this is nobody that I've ever had on can do this.
Right.
What would your message to supervisors be regarding OWCP?
Supervisors, pay attention.
And by the way, everyone, he did not know I was going to ask that question. We don't rehearse.
Yeah, no, we don't.
I don't say, here's a list of questions that's coming your way. I don't even know what I'm going to say until I'm talking. So what's your message to supervisors? Because this is going to be broadcast on the Breaking OWCP podcast. It's on Instagram. It's on LinkedIn. It's on Facebook. It's on multiple Facebook pages.
Instagram, TikTok.
It's everywhere. So there's a lot of people are going to see this. So I would say to anyone else but you, choose your words carefully. Yeah. Do not do that.
You know what I would say to them? I would say to the supervisors, listen, when it comes, now don't forget, I understand we have many facets of this operation we have to learn and execute every day. But if you understand what happens with OWCP, and when I say have that conversation starts, the training starts with the conversation and it's followed up by classroom training. And I'm going to educate you in OWCP because the more you learn about OWCP, the more you will learn that instead of looking the other way, if a mail handler is on a tow truck pulling 4 APCs, because you understand the significance of that employee getting hurt, I want you to stop whatever you're doing and go talk to that employee. 3 is the maximum. See, you have to, learning OWCP, it will teach you how to be more accident avoidant. You can avoid more accidents. You know, they got this big thing in the post office, and this is an example that everybody can relate to. In the post office, everyone knows you push, you do not pull. Very simple. I guarantee you, if you walk in any post office, pick your choice. You're going to see 98% of the people pushing, not pulling. Now, pulling, not pushing, because if you push an APC, it's going to take longer because you're looking through the sides, or you got clear going through. So my advice to supervisors would be that we're going to slow this down a little bit, and we're going to learn. I'm not going to tell you about OWCP. We're going to learn. We're going to start with the CA1. We're going all the way through all the CAs with questions, and we're going to have somebody who's knowledgeable teach us. Now, after you've been taught, don't let me see people still writing to headquarters, I got hurt at work and nothing happened. Because now there's going to be a phone call you have to answer. So again, I always favor educating people on what should happen. But here goes some of that realness, Chris. Post office can't do that. They won't do that. If you educate people on what should happen and they take that advice, you're probably going to need more employees. You know what? Let me stop you from pulling an APC, from pulling an APC, and I like to use that example, and start pushing. Whereas you could have pulled 5, now you pull 2. Excuse me. You could have pulled 5, but you did it properly and pushed it. So now that's 2. So now I'm 3 APCs down. Where am I going to make that up at? So management, they talk that safety game, but if they really, really got serious with it, again, and part of them getting serious is part of them learning the rules and regulations that govern OWCP. And the latent function of all of that would be somebody looking at you as a leader saying, I got hurt at work and you helped me. You didn't, they got to do investigations and all of that, but I got hurt. I came to my supervisor. My supervisor got me care. My supervisor got me the forms I need. My supervisor showed me what needs to happen. And the only way to make that happen is through intense, not just training, intense training. And it's got to come from headquarters, and it's got to be known to the supervisor. This is not the flavor of the month. This is how we move now.
And you know what, Kenny? That person that says my supervisor this and that you just said that was all good stuff.
Yeah.
You know what they end with? My supervisor is my friend. My supervisor cares about me.
Right.
Yeah, and that's I mean, again, you don't come to work. At work, we have business relationships, but if you, in the process of taking care of business, can show some compassion and
Yes.
humanity to your fellow employee, you gotta know that your return on that investment
Huge.
is going to far surpass anything you could probably calculate.
Huge. So I think that was a perfect message to the supervisors.
It was.
All right. So again, Kenny has no idea what I'm going to say or ask. So I'm going to give you like 5 or 10 seconds to pause if you need it to consider what I'm about to say to you. But if you had to put together to the people, not to management, all right, to everyone else that's struggling with this crap, and use one sentence, okay? I'm talking about a headline. The one takeaway that you want everyone to be thinking about when it comes to OWCP, when we're talking about the people that are suffering through this, what's the headline?
There's help if you ask, but you can't just ask once. Sometimes you might have to ask 4 or 5 times, but I want you to know the system is set up to help you. There are those in the system that don't understand the system, so you don't get the help. So you have to be a little more tenacious in your grasp for this information because it's there to help you.
There's help. That's right. And Dr. Cooper put the mic drop emoji. That's not really an emoji. I'm positive that's the cartoon version of Dr. Cooper, which is cool.
I think so, yeah.
So, Kenny, I really appreciate having you on tonight. Gini does too. I'm speaking for myself, but of course, us. We both love having you.
Me too.
When she told me you were going to be on, I was energized. It's like, oh, man, can we start early? You know, because I love having this conversation with you.
I tried to find a Purdue sweatshirt, but not Purdue. Yeah, Purdue, right?
Notre Dame. Come on, go Irish.
Well, and you know, hey, Chris, you know what's funny? I got it written right here in my notes, Notre Dame, and Purdue came out.
You know, when you go to flying in and out of Indy, they got Purdue, they got the U, but you know what they don't have? They don't have any Irish gear in the airport. I don't know what's up with that airport.
Really?
Well, that's, if it's not Rutgers, pretty much not
interesting. Shame.
Hey, but listen, I appreciate the invite. I always love coming on your show, trying to assist post employees with knowledge and let them know again, it's there for you. You sometimes it's not laying on top of the grass. You got to dig, but I promise you, it's there.
Well, man, I think you and I should do something like this on a regular basis, and we don't even have to talk OWCP. We just talk. But with that said, you told me you're going to restart the Kenny Hodge podcast.
Yes.
Tell people where to find it and when to find it.
Probably April. I retired last April, and I think a year of not doing anything is enough. And it's funny because I really haven't learned how not to do anything.
I couldn't imagine.
Once again, so you don't understand this right now because you work so much. But there's some mornings you can just get up, take a shower, put on a different pair of pajamas, and go back to bed, man.
That's what I'm talking about. One day. One day.
Yeah, man, it's a beautiful thing. But
where can they find you?
Yes.
Huh?
Where can everyone find you?
Right now, the Kenny Hodge podcast. I'm putting some things together. We're coming back. I got some political friends who I will be probably for the next year doing a Kenny Hodge podcast, but really trying to motivate the Democratic Party. Get them motivated. Oh, that's what I do, man. That's what I got the combat boots. I got the drill sergeant hat out. Yeah, we're about to go. Yeah, we're gonna take control the right way. Hey, that's a cover photo waiting to happen.
Yeah.
No, listen, man.
With pajamas.
I can't do that.
Combat boots, drill sergeant hat, pajamas.
Hey,
and a USMC t-shirt.
Yeah, listen, I can only actually now my base is Marines, but I'm an Army drill sergeant. That's right. To clear that up. You know what I'm saying? So I just have to look at that hat. Every once in a while I put it on, and the wife says it takes about 3 or 4 days to come out of whatever I was in, man. It reminds you who you are. Yes, it does. There's power in that hat, man. Hey, but listen, I appreciate you, man. And folks, listen, when it comes down to OWCP, I promise you, I wouldn't steer you wrong. Chris and Gini, if you need an answer, you're going to get an answer. Now, if you need a particular answer, then you can just go ask anybody. But if you need the answer, OWCP chats with Chris and Gini Helms, that's going to get you the answer.
My man.
Thank you, everybody, tonight. Kenny Hodge.
Kenny Hodge, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you. All right.
If anything,
Kenny, we love you. We'll see you soon.
Yes.
Let's get together.
We will, brother.
All right.
Y'all take care.
Good night.
Thanks, Kenny. Everybody stick around.
All right. Those of you that are still on, you go up to the top, the little 3 buttons.
Good.
Okay. I know a lot of you had questions, so I'm gonna try and see if I can.
So here's what we're gonna
answered.
do, and I'm not giving orders because I'm not in charge, but in the interest of time, we're just gonna skip the statements because there's a lot of statements of agreement. Look, I agree with you. You agree with us. We're all agreeing together, but there are some questions. So I'm gonna ask Jeannie to just skip through and go find the questions, and we're gonna answer those because I don't like leaving here with your questions unanswered.
Let me start to scroll up here.
Yeah. You might want to start at the top. So how did everybody like Kenny Hodge?
He's awesome.
Man, every time I talk to him, I just want to sit up straight. You know, he's an intense guy, but when you get to know him, he's such a nice guy. You can't believe he was a Marine and an Army drill sergeant, but he does carry himself that way. You know, he's just he's an intense dude, but this guy is he's legit. He's a real deal. We love him. If you use the left pad, it works better.
The what?
Yeah, here, let me just do it.
It's not working.
That's top. We're at the top.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to go down, but it's not working.
Then just go right here. It's not how these things work, but it is. Everyone's like, "Oh, look, they don't know how to work stuff." Just do that. You just go right below the little thing, and you can click the button, and it'll scroll down. So, everyone. Talk amongst yourself. Anybody ever see Saturday Night Live in the 90s? They had this episode. It's like, so talk amongst yourself. I'll give you a topic. Our topic's OWCP.
Sonia Summers, I need you to give me a call ASAP today or tomorrow, please. And leave me a message so I can call you back at a number.
At whatever number you'd like. Yeah. That right button, it doesn't work ever.
Hey, you're going to have to do it.
Yeah, see, that's left and that's right.
Okay.
And you keep clicking right.
Because
it doesn't work.
Well, because my laptop does it that way.
Well, this isn't your laptop. It's a whole different one. It would feel like that. Any questions there?
Let's see. Dennis Bailey, been on workman's comp for over a year. I had a right hand wrist surgery, and I don't know if they're going to try to disable me.
Well, okay. Hold on before you click that. So disabling you, I get what you're saying there, but the key is get your claim approved and get back to work as soon as possible so they don't do that to you. You want to get it on a limited duty assignment and keep going to the doctor and get better. Nope. This is left. Click over here. Just right on the left side. Yeah, that's better. There you go. Any more questions there? No. 1-800-321-OSHA, folks. Nope.
Penny. Chris, Jeannie, my claim was finally accepted over 2 years. Thanks, Federal Injury Centers of Chicago. I don't have a pic yet. Hopefully next week. Love you all.
So, all right, we want you to take that picture with the. So we have this picture at all of our offices. It's a sign that says Federal Injury Centers got my claim approved. And some people say, well, that's just vanity. No, it's not. Here's the problem. Your coworkers don't even think it's possible to get claims approved. They think it's impossible. And so we're showing you, you can do this. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. And as the coach and the calendar I had in high school said, it's not a gorilla with a flashlight. It's a real thing. You can get better.
Miss Farah said, what do we do when they won't give us light duty?
So in OWCP, we're talking about limited duty. That's for everyone else. I understand what you meant. Light duty is for other things other than work injuries. Your claim has to be approved first. If your claim's approved, then they are by law required to make every effort possible to give it to you. If they can't give you limited duty and they say you just got to stay home, guess what? You're probably going to end up on the rolls and just get paid to stay home. That's not ideal. I don't think anybody really wants that when they really sit and think about it. Who wants to just sit at home and get paid to be home? Like, okay, I said it that way. Of course, I like to be on vacation forever. But, you probably want to get back, and that's the key. So if they won't give it to you, you will get paid to stay home.
Victor said, what type of training are you bringing to APW convention to Miami in April?
Okay, so this is the first, Victor, that I've heard that I'm actually going to be doing the training. I know we're going to be there, but I didn't realize I'm doing the training. Is that what you just said?
Yeah,
Will I be doing the training in Miami? Because whatever I'm bringing would be my A game, and I'll be wearing my Miami gear, and I don't mean Dolphins or Heat. Like, I love Miami. I freaking love. Do I love Miami? Did you even hear what I said?
Yeah.
I love Miami. Love it.
He just was all Miami'd out yesterday.
I will bring my A game. Trust me.
James Clack, if accepted and did not do a leave buyback, how long do I have since recent reoccurrence?
How long do I have since recent reoccurrence? The question's a little confusing. Here's what I've been hearing. I've been hearing a lot of people say it was more than a year ago, so they're not letting you have it back. That doesn't make any sense to me. I'm hoping that's just the mileage reimbursement or the medical reimbursement on the OWCP 915 and 957 forms. Not in that order. But the best thing I can tell you to do is fill out your CA7 forms and go back to day one. Here's the worst thing that'll happen. They'll deny some of it and pay some of it. That's the worst thing that'll happen. The best thing is they'll just pay you. So don't worry about it. Just go get it all.
Kathy, how can I stop from losing my AL from the new year under OWCP?
Well, I don't know how you're losing it if you never used it. But if you used it, you get your claim approved and do leave buyback and you get it back.
Yeah. Let's see. Now that I know what the heck I'm doing.
Figured it out. Yeah. It's a different laptop. Whoops. There you go. Beautiful.
Will you be brought whole on all the leave you would have accumulated while you were off?
I wish I would have asked that question while Kenny was on.
But isn't it once your claim is accepted?
Well, they're asking, like, will they make you whole? Like, all the leave you took, this is probably the best answer. All the leave you took, you can buy back, which will make you whole. The problem is you have to buy it back, and that's not free. That's not fair either, but the system isn't set up with fairness in mind.
Dennis said, I have been on IOD LWAP for a year now where comp is paying my claim and has been accepted, but my leave from the post office is not accumulating sick or leave, vacation leave, which we all call annual leave.
So what he's saying is he's not accumulating more leave. That doesn't make sense to me either. Go to your union and find out what the heck is going on. Some of these answers, like, these are easy answers, and it sounds like I'm not really trying, but that's the answer.
Sharon, I already responded to you. Okay, when you get hurt and your OWCP is accepted, do you get your pay when you get hurt, or can they cut your route?
Well, they can cut your route and pay you. If let's say you're scheduled for 40 hours a week and you get hurt and you can only work 20 hours a week, well, then they're going to be required on a CA7 plus a CA7A to pay the other 20.
Yeah.
On LWAP, leave without pay.
Let's see.
So Georgia, make sure they code it as LWAP.
Hello, Georgia. I know you guys are, I see all the complaints on here.
There's the mic drop, so we're getting close to the end.
Yeah. If I didn't answer your question because for some reason we couldn't go back up, just go ahead and message me and I will answer them by tomorrow. And Victor, I'm going to message you tomorrow. I would like you to be a guest on our next show next week.
I was just thinking
possible.
That. Yeah.
And like you said on here, you can discuss light duty. So everybody knows that Victor is a steward and has many titles under his stewardshipness, I guess. And Victor, if you are available, we'd love to bring you on so you can discuss about all this light duty, because even though Victor is with APW, he still knows so much. He is so knowledgeable.
Just because he's a clerk. Just kidding, Victor.
I didn't mean it like that.
I know she didn't.
Victor is like, if you want questions, Victor knows a lot about all the other crafts.
So he's actually, no, he is a powerhouse. That's why when
Yeah.
he's on here, I like to defer to him. But tonight I had Kenny, so I didn't really have to defer to anybody because thankfully Kenny was there and knew the answer. Frank said Kenny was great. He is. And by the way, he's great here. You should just like be able to interact with him in person. He's such a cool guy. I love being around Kenny. Anytime I'm in the same room with him, I just feel energized. He's
right.
He's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and okay, so that's pretty much about it. So Victor, I'll get with you tomorrow, but if those of you have been paying attention to some of the posts that I've been doing, we are headed to Manhattan next week for Chris and Gini's Sip and Socialize. Come out, grab some appetizers and some drinks, come chat. This is open to anybody that wants to network with Dr. Malemi and talk to us more about federal work comp.
And how we can help you in New York.
How we can help you in the state of New York. And, you know,
almost nobody cares about you.
Joe will also be there, our partner Joe, who can take note as to other areas in New York that you guys need help in. And
which is all the other areas we know.
Yeah. So we know we're only in Manhattan.
For now.
Yeah. And New Jersey and Edison and Paramus as well. So we have those there.
Yeah, check out those New Jersey locations. A lot of people from Staten Island are going over there. Now, I don't understand the geography because I'm not from there, but that's happening. So that's probably a clue to me that that's something.
Okay, so next Thursday, the 28th, is a Sip and Social with Chris and Gini in Manhattan. And then the following week, April 4th, we will be in Norwood as well with Eric Blowers, Chris and I, Joe, and the team in the Norwood office. So again, come by, come say hello. Those of you that want to do some networking and get to meet the staff and see how you can help them and you can help our federal employees, come by. MRI facilities, surgeons. So we will be there to answer all your questions and do a little mini OWCP training.
And by the way, just because you said MRI and surgeons, there's no possible way that those people are on here and you're wondering, well, why did you say that? Because you need to know that what we do in each of our locations is we try to build a network of people that will also help you. And so surgeons and imaging facilities are some of the key people you need to be on board with you. Wherever we have a franchise location, we try to set up a network of people that will also accept your OWCP and help you without taking money from you. So that's the way we do that.
Yeah. Abu, you said, do you have any other reps in Philly? No, we don't. We just have the one. Well, I mean, if you're talking about offices, the only one we have right now is in Royersford.
Right outside of Philly, like 30 minutes.
Yeah. That's like 30 minutes. So it's not that bad of a drive.
But trust me, the pain of the drive, and to me, I'm from Texas. You can be, sorry, I know you're from Philly. You probably hate that I love Dallas. But I can drive 18 hours in Texas and still be in Texas. All right. So the pain of a 30-minute drive or an hour-long drive is far less painful than the pain of a denied claim.
Yes.
So consider giving them a call.
LS Waters, will you be anywhere near Charlotte, North Carolina in the future? Okay, so we do.
Certainly.
We do have an office there, as you guys already know, and they are like,
they're our top office.
They're the top
we'll be
office, and they are getting claims approved. But we still have so many other Sip and Socials that we have to get done that we will eventually make our way back to Charlotte.
Yeah, we will be back.
And those of you that have been asking about the books that you don't want to download the PDF, here's the thing. We only give out these, where's the book? They're not hardcover, but paperback books at state and union conventions. We always bring extra. So if you have a friend or someone that needs one, you can take one back for them. But it is only PDF. And Chris explained it while we were on with Kenny Hodge. If you want to do that one more time, if you want the book, if you want the PDF, which is so much better on your phone, so you can have the rules right there and show your supervisors if they give you a hard time, you go to breakingowcp.com. Once you buy it, please wait.
Don't leave.
Wait, look for it. It'll tell you that you've purchased. You have to click the download the PDF.
Right. Don't leave. So a lot of people are emailing or messaging saying, I bought the book 3 weeks ago and it hasn't shown up yet. Well, that's because you made a mistake. Now, I take full responsibility for your mistake because my website, I guess, is a little confusing. But for those of you that are coming next, just know, don't leave the website until you are looking at the book on your screen.
Yeah.
Because you download it and then you have a PDF on your screen.
Yep.
And technology is confusing to me too, but you got to know that that's the deal. With that said, if you buy a book and you can't figure out how to download it, just send us a message. I'll email it to you. No problem. I'm happy to do it, because when you're able to put Breaking OWCP in your pocket, when your supervisor gives you wrong information, you can on the spot immediately refute it and say, what about what this Code of Federal Regulation says in volume 1 in the book, in the chapter on rules, laws, and regulations?
Yeah, again, I know a lot of you are saying I'm old, I don't do PDFs. I'm sorry, that's what we have right now.
And I understand that. And I could look, if I mail these to you, I could do that. And for vanity, I could put my signature on it and that would be awesome. And it would make me look famous even. But I don't care about that. I care about you having instant access. Nobody else cares enough to do this. I've written 4 books on the topic. Go to breakingowcp.com and do what I do. By the way, we have 4 sons that are between 19 and 25 years old. And when I'm confused, who do I call?
Them.
Any one of them, doesn't matter, because they know way more about this stuff than I do. So get help if you need it. But trust me, I'm telling you, you got to take my word for it. Once it's on your phone, it's powerful.
Yeah, and we'll probably, before the end of the year, so I'm not promising anything, get these books on Audible so you could listen to
I've got this microphone thing here. I could probably record on audiobook. But just let's do this. And I'll put a post separately on this because I'm starting to feel a little pressure. I'm considering releasing a limited number of the volume 4, the 25 things you can do to win an OWCP, where you can buy the paperback. But I'm telling you, I want you to have it on your phone. It's so much better for you to be able to pull your phone out of your pocket and say, that's not right. But I'll post something and say, who wants one? Maybe I'll do like a pre-order thing.
I think we should.
The thing is, I don't want to order 1,000 books and only 50 people want it, because they're not free. I tried, but the printer won't let me print them for free. But, I want you to be happy, but more than that, I want you to be educated and I want you to be safe and I want you to not get screwed over by management. And the best way to do that is to put Breaking OWCP in your pocket.
Carly said, I would love an audio book. I'm sure we're going to wind up doing it, because that's the one thing. I mean, we're on all social media platforms. We have a podcast. We do everything else. We have everything, and we don't have Audible. So we will try to.
We were just in a room full of doctors. There's a veterinarian. There's marketing people. There's what other professions are in the group? Realtors,
real estate. I mean,
so it's a group,
mix of so many different people with different businesses.
Yeah, our consulting group has nothing to do with OWCP.
Right.
It's so funny. We get in and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, we see you all on Facebook all the time. We see you all over social media."
Yeah.
I'm like, "How do you see me? You're not a federal employee." So, anyways, if I want to seem famous, I'll just go in that room. But with you, I want you to be educated. I want you to be safe. I want you to have the information at your fingertips. And thank God, Steve Jobs gave us the iPhone.
Well, Victor said, I carry your books in my backpack, which I totally believe that. True. And he does. Carly said, for all the neurodivergent girlies.
Carly, you're something else. Can't wait to see you in California.
Yeah. All right, guys. So again, we are coming to Manhattan next Thursday night. Come see us. Come say hello. Come get your picture, whatever it is that you guys do with us when we're there. And then April 4th, again, we're going to be in Norwood. Same thing, just different state, different place.
Nicholas said we need to push out more podcast episodes. You sound like my podcast guy, Robert. So you're right. We know we've been just like scattered traveling, but we will. Tonight's episode will show up on the podcast. Go wherever you listen to podcasts and download the Breaking OWCP podcast with Chris and Gini. I listen to mine on the Apple app. A lot of people listen on Spotify, but wherever you get podcasts, go search for it. You'll find it. Subscribe, download, whatever you got to do so that when new episodes do come out, you're notified. But this will be there. Thank you for tolerating that long break that we had where
that was so weird.
We lost connection somehow. Like my Wi-Fi was still connected, but the studio wasn't. So thank you, Kenny Hodge, for carrying the show for that what seemed like forever. But anyways, yeah, go to Breaking OWCP Podcast with Chris and Gini. Download, subscribe, listen, tell your friends, and come back Wednesday nights and watch more Wednesday night OWCP chats with Chris and Gini.
Don't forget, if you want to see us live on the podcast, you have to go and follow Breaking OWCP Facebook page, because when we do record our podcast, we also broadcast live there. We do not bring it over to chats. So go on over there, click the follow or like button, whatever is on there. Don't forget to tell your friends we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok, we're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, and we are on LinkedIn.
That's right.
And I mean, I don't if there's
if you can't find us, you're not looking.
If there's anywhere else we need to be, let us know, because we'll add that on too. So
let's end with this. Victor says one more thing: don't give up and fight for your rights.
Absolutely.
We're gonna leave it there.
Yes.
Everyone have a great night.
See you guys next Wednesday. Bye.